Stick It with Mr. Biggs is made possible by listeners like you. To support the show, go to askmrbiggs.com/support.
Stick It.
And welcome to Stick It with Mr. Biggs. And with me is Roger. Hey, Roger.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're gonna want to get right up on that microphone there, Roger. Just get right up on it.
Is this better? Is this okay?
I don't think that your mic technique has improved at all.
Sure.
You want to get right in front of it.
Sure.
Just right up on it. Yeah. There you go.
Is that gonna work?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. Yeah, it's the Stick It podcast.
Welcome.
A podcast where we discuss adhesives and glues, epoxies. Anytime that something needs to be stuck to another thing, this is the place you come. And I'm Mr. Biggs. I know a little bit about most things, and I'd like to think that I've got the answers for your adhesive
too?
questions.
There'll be some pastes.
Well, yeah, I would include paste in the adhesive category. Sure. If you're 5, I guess you can use paste.
There are some pasty adhesives out there.
Sure. You have any others you want to add to the list?
I just was trying to think of. You said glues. You mentioned glues.
Yeah.
And you mentioned tape. Did you mention tapes?
I didn't mention tape, but I would include tape in the adhesive family. It's adhesive adjacent, Roger.
Well, I mean, assuming...
I mean, it's not a glue, but it is adhesive adjacent.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it for adhesing things together.
Sure. It's not a permanent fix, but it certainly, it'll do in a pinch. I've got a couple of thoughts on tape. I could go on. You know what? Maybe, that's it. We're going to change the name of the podcast to Stick It with Glues and Adhesives and Sometimes Tape with Mr. Biggs. What do you think of that?
I think that's going to be. I think that's going to be a little bit.
Stick It with Tapes and Glues with Mr. Biggs.
That's probably going to be too long for the IRL.
We're going to be taking your emails. If you've got an adhesive related question, you can go ahead and send that to bigscast@gmail.com. That's with 2 G's. No, wait.
Yeah.
I'm doing it again. It's bigscast with 3 G's at
right.
Bigscast with 2 G's, and then you put at gmail.com with 1 G.
Right.
And then that's the email address.
The three G's are kind of separated apart, but the two...
Oh, no, there's no spaces, Roger. You can't put a space in an email address. It won't get to its destination. What are you thinking? That's not going to work.
We're doing a podcast.
It's a good thing that I'm the one that's the expert on adhesives, because if we were relying on you, we'd clearly be getting some inaccurate information. You don't even know how to use email.
Well, we've got an email set up right now.
Dumb.
You want to go to that right away, or do you want to?
Oh no, we cannot go to the email yet, Roger, because we've got breaking news. Breaking news.
That's
coming to us from Dateline Pittsburgh.
Uh-oh.
It says here that officials at Carlow University are trying to figure out who vandalized a statue of Jesus on their campus. A Jesus statue got vandalized. Who would do that?
Was it like a full-grown man Jesus, or was it a baby Jesus?
No, this is a big, full-grown man, bigger than life, bigger than Jesus was. I can't imagine that this was parishioners or college students, because college students are usually very well behaved.
They're busy studying.
Yeah, with their classes, and they want to keep their marks up.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably neighborhood kids, I'm thinking.
Vandals.
The statue is made out of granite, and it's not clear who vandalized the Jesus statue, but police are reviewing the video from nearby surveillance cameras to find out who broke both hands off the outstretched arms of the granite Jesus. Both hands, Roger.
Well,
both of them.
And the arms are extended outward.
And some bad neighborhood kids. That's what I'm thinking it is. The police should probably talk to bad neighborhood kids that, I don't know how they got the granite hands off of the statue, but they probably whacked it with their wiffle ball bat, or maybe they threw their soccer ball at it.
Hockey sticks. Hockey is very big right now in Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah.
Hockey.
The Pittsburgh team won the hockey championship.
Well, what do hockey players have against Jesus? Don't hockey players love Jesus, Roger?
I think it's just...
What do you say? Roger, you can't say stuff like that and not expect to get a little bit of backlash.
Sure.
We're trying to establish the podcast, and you're saying offensive things about hockey players.
Right. Well,
I'm sure hockey players love Jesus just as much as the next guy.
Every batch of apples has some apples that are kind of going bad.
Well, my advice to the staff of Carlow University in Pittsburgh is the following. First,
now this is the reattach the hands to the Jesus. Is this what we're talking about?
Well, I haven't got to that part yet because I think you're putting the cart before the horse, Roger.
Right.
Because, as I mentioned, they haven't found the granite Jesus hands yet.
I
see.
So
as far as I'm concerned, step number 1 is find the granite Jesus hands. And I think you'd be wise to check with the bad neighborhood kids because they're probably going to be the ones that are going to have them.
Put up some.
Say, hey, youngsters, any of you kids got any granite hands? Maybe Jesus hands? Some
flyers.
Big granite stone Jesus hands?
You could put up...
They have to tell you if they got them.
Put up the flyers with that oatmeal paste.
Well, there's probably better pastes to use. If you're going to put up a flyer, I don't know if you want to use something that's water-soluble, Roger, because in Pittsburgh, you're liable to get some rain. You don't know how long it's going to take to get those hands back. You have to think ahead.
Okay. You want something that's going to keep the flyer up longer.
Yeah, maybe a silicone-based adhesive, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. Right now, I want to talk to the people of Carlow University. Number 1, find the granite Jesus hands. Number 2, apply some epoxy to both the broken wrist area of the hand and the broken area of the forearm. And I'm going to recommend Stoneweld brand, Stoneweld Granite epoxy adhesive, because it is made to glue up porous surfaces like granite. If you've got any, like a broken bird bath in your front yard, this stuff is the bee's knees as far as gluing stone and concrete back together.
And but we're talking about granite right now, though, aren't we?
Well, yeah, Stoneweld works good for granite. That's what the statue's made out of, Roger.
Is that a porous substance, granite?
Now that I think about it, it's not a real good idea to make your statue out of granite these days because it's out there in the elements.
Mm.
And plus, neighborhood kids are bound to come by and whack off the hands at some point.
It seems to have happened.
So you mix up the 2-part epoxy, like in, let's say, grab yourself a paper cup and mix out the parts into a single cup. Maybe use a tongue depressor to stir it up. Apply some to the hand wrist area and the forearm wrist area, and let it sit for a couple of minutes. You want it just to get a little bit tacky. Then when you put the hand up on Jesus's forearm, you're going to want to brace it with some painter's sticks and then wrap some duct tape around the broken area just to give it a little bit of extra support while the epoxy sets. Now, if it's hot outside, it's going to set a little bit faster, maybe 2 or 3 hours. If it's cold, you may have to wait as long as 6. And I recommend having the groundskeeper monitor the area and make sure no kids come by and mess up Jesus's hands while Jesus's hands are drying.
Yeah, we don't want to repeat of the previous incident.
And you don't want the hand to dry crooked, because then that would be a pretty funny-looking Jesus with a limp wrist. Not as inspiring, Roger.
No.
Not,
Well, I mean-
not as inspiring.
Well, for some people, maybe more so.
This has been breaking news on Stick It with Mr. Biggs.
Stick it.
Stick it.
I understand we've got an email from a listener.
Yeah, we got an email.
Do you have that email?
Yep, I do. I had to print it out because I don't really care. Well, I mean, I can read off of a screen, but I'd rather read off a printed out piece of paper. So I hope that's okay. I mean,
I can't imagine how it would affect me, but I mean, if you want my opinion on what you should be doing, I think you should just read the email, Roger.
well, I mean, because we're hitting the cutting edge of broadcasting. We're podcasting now, and I didn't know if it would sort of diminish the credibility of what we're doing if I read it off a piece of paper, analog style.
If you didn't mention it, none of the millennials would even know. They wouldn't be judging you. But now that you've brought it up, every single millennial listening is thinking, man, oh man, that cat is Squaresville. If you didn't bring it up, Roger, nobody would know. You can read it off whatever you want.
I just thought the sound of the
But you brought it up.
sound of the paper would give it away. Paper. Well, okay.
Let's hear that email.
bigscast@gmail.com is
Gmail.com.
our email address, and we've got an email right here. It is as follows. Stand by. Sorry. Got a
What
little.
What happened?
Okay,
What's
here we
happening?
go. Here we go. The email is as follows. I dug up an old tub of Mod Podge craft glue recently that had pretty much given up the ghost. Dry, cracked on the edges, and the glue in the middle is barely viscous at all. Now, I want to replace it with a new tub, but my wife claims that if we microwave the old crusty Mod Podge for at least 6 or 7 minutes, it will be as good as new. To prove her point, she insists that I email you and see what you have to see. So here we are.
Is that the end of the email?
Yeah, that's
Is that it?
No, so that's
Okay.
it's not really a question per se. It's just kind of he's
Oh, man.
setting out his situation, and
Yeah.
basically it's implied what the question is.
His wife wants to his wife wants to microwave his tub of Hodgepodge glue.
Well, it was her suggestion, and then she said that he should. She said that he should do it.
Well, she's wrong.
Mod Podge, 6 or 7 minutes in the microwave, and old.
No. This sounds like a woman who's been microwaving a few too many casseroles. And besides, a tub of Mod Podge, 6 or 7 minutes, woman, listen to what you're saying. Imagine one of your lady casseroles, the same size, if you were to put it in the microwave for 6 or 7 minutes.
It's like some cream of mushroom soup with maybe a can of peas and some.
After 6 or 7 minutes, you'd be lucky if that thing doesn't catch on fire, Roger. That's insane.
The Mod Podge?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, no. I mean, no. Don't put Mod Podge. Don't put any. Let me rephrase that. Don't put any glues or adhesives in the microwave.
Even if they.
Unless you're trying to glue something back into the microwave that is broken off. But we'll cover that in another episode.
Like the spinny tray, the glass rotating, Lazy Susan style rotating dish.
Those sit in there with gravity, Roger. You don't want to glue that in, or else it's not going to rotate. We're getting off topic.
Well,
we're getting off topic.
So even if they dial down the length to like 1 or 2 minutes, that's still not going to work?
No, because Mod Podge is a water-based glue, or it's made for decoupage. You've done decoupage before, right, Roger?
Oh, yeah, plenty.
When a glue is water-based, when it sets because the water has evaporated from the glue, leaving behind a bonded surface. So, if you put it in the microwave, all you're going to do is heat up that water that's mixed in with the Mod Podge, or in your case, what's left in the Mod Podge, because it's all crusty and gross, and it's just going to turn to a stone. It's going to turn into a burnt hockey puck of disgusting former glue in a Mod Podge container, which is probably melted because you put it in there for 6 or 7 minutes. So don't do that. Whatever you do, don't put it in the microwave. What you could try, maybe putting a little bit of tap water in it. Now, he said that it's all dried up, right?
Well, sounds like it's dry it up around the edges, kind of cracky and dry, and then the middle is barely viscous at all. To quote,
so you can't even stir it up.
It sounds like like say a stick, a popsicle stick, will go into it, and I'm just guessing it will go into it, but I don't think you can move it around.
What was his wife's name? What was her name again?
My wife. That doesn't. He leaves her name out.
Her left her.
No name.
He left her name out. Oh, okay.
No name.
Tell your wife that you could put a little bit of water in there and try to mix it up and see if you can get it flowing again. However, I don't think that's going to work. And Mod Podge is not expensive.
True.
It's not. It's cheap. It's a cheap craft glue. You can go and get another tub of that stuff. Not only is the new stuff going to work better, but if you've had a tub laying around the house that's been there so long that it's dry and cracked and discolored and gross, you've probably had that since 1978. And the formula has changed. You're going to be much happier with the new version of Mod Podge, and it smells better. It gets tackier faster, and it no longer has that pleasant taste. That's a trade-off.
Oh.
They changed the formula, but you're not supposed to be eating it anyway. So, personally, I don't mind.
The current taste, the new taste, you don't mind the new taste?
No, I don't mind that it tastes bad now because
right.
I know that I'm not supposed to be eating it, and I've got other things to eat than a tub of old glue.
Right. So what you're saying is you were never tempted to eat it ever. So the fact that it tastes bad now doesn't affect you, because if you were to eat it and you didn't care for it, it wouldn't matter because you're not going to eat it anyway.
Well, if I happen to find it in the microwave, I might accidentally,
right,
throw a fork in. But I already told Roger, I already said you're not supposed to be doing that. Don't put it in the microwave. Don't tempt me.
All right, so we got an answer then for this gentleman and his Mod Podge conundrum. The answer is go get a new tub.
Yes, go get a new one. Don't be stingy. Tell your wife she's wrong. Next call.
Stick it.
The email address is bigscast@gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
You're listening to...
Bigscast has 2 G's in it, Roger. You got to specify.
We gotta stick it. You gotta stick it with Mr. Biggs and the gentleman with the Mod Podge. Stick it.
If you've got a question regarding adhesives or glues, epoxies, or all kinds of things that need to be stuck,
stick it.
You just send me the email at bigscast@gmail.com, and we'll answer them in a future show. Hey, Roger, thanks for coming in today. I really appreciate your help. I think it went really well.
Didn't really do all that much. I mean, you just wanted me...
You printed out that email.
Right.
You did that.
You mentioned something beforehand that I was supposed to work in the show title more, but I forgot. But I can just say, stick it.
Stick it.